It's good to be with you. It's especially good to be with you because this gathering celebrates the 10th anniversary of the Great East Japan earthquake. And I feel a special connection to Tohoku, which I visited on quite close to the second anniversary of the Great East Japan earthquake. And I'll never forget touring the area. And now 10 years later, you are gathering as a new generation to reflect on the future, and especially the future of education. And you are thinking together about what would be required to make the system of education accessible to everyone and able to bring society together for a brighter future. So I admire the optimism and the ambition that you are bringing to this gathering. And I would like to have a dialogue with you today to learn how you are thinking about what the future of education should be. I'd like to begin by asking your opinion about high stakes assessments, and in particular, about university entrance exams. What is the best system for determining which students are admitted to top universities? Now, first of all, I want to just get a sense of at what level you are in your education. I know some of you are in high school, others of you are already in university. Raise your hand, those of you who are high school students, just so I can get a sense of how many of you are currently in high school. Raise your hand. Thank you for that. Okay, so a number of you are in high school, quite a few. And how many of you, all right, we can lower the hands now of the high school students and raise your hand, those of you who are university students. Raise your hand if you're a university student. All right, so we have a good mix of high school and university students, and I'd be interested in your perspectives, in your thinking about the system of university admission. And I would like to do so, and if we could lower the hands, I'd like now for everyone to go to the reaction buttons. And if you look at the reaction buttons, you'll see that you have a choice of yes or no. Yes is the green button, no is the red button. And I would like to invite you to use those buttons to offer your view, your opinion on the following question. Do you think that the current system in your country is fair, a fair way of determining who will gain admission to university? If you think that the current system of university entrance exams is fair in your country, click yes, the green button. If you don't think so, click red, the no button, and we'll see what people think. Yes, if you think it's fair. No, if you think it's unfair. Has everybody had a chance to vote? The majority of people, the overwhelming majority of people, have voted no. A handful of people have voted yes. So I would like to begin by inviting someone who voted no, who does not think that the existing system of university entrance exams is fair, to tell us why. Who votes no and can explain why you think the system is not fair? Raise your hand if you would like to speak. Ryuichiro, why do you think the current system in your country is unfair?
Thank you very much, Mr. Professor, to have a chance to talk with me today. I do not think that the current system is not fair. I think it's not fair because the opportunity is only limited to the students who record high grades on the just standardized tests. Because all universities in our country almost have a same system to select the who should go to the university or not.
And why are the existing exams, the existing tests, unfair? What is unfair about them, do you think?
I think the unfairness of the university entrance exam is that most universities have using the same way to select the participants, although the education system is completely different, and each universities have different views of who should enroll to each universities.
And what do you think would be a better system?
I think that each university should have a different system to select the participants or select the students.
And are you currently in university yourself?
I have just graduated from high school this March, and
yes.
I'm going to go to the universities in the United States on this September. So actually, I'm the students who skipped the take the entrance exams in this country, and that's why I say that I compare with my entrance exam system in Japan and the United States, and that's why I think my country system is unfair compared with the United States.
All right, thank you for that. Thank you. Rio, what do you think?
私が考える、日本のシステムが平等だと思う理由は、学力でしか入試の基準がほとんど測られていないというところです。学力以外のところで頑張ったとしても、その評価がなかなか行われないということと、学校によって評価の基準が異なるというところから、すごく不平等だなというふうに思います。
And what do you think would be a more fair system, Rio?
私はもっとたくさんの評価の軸ができればいいなというふうに思っています。今は学力というものが一番の大きな、軸になっていますが、そうじゃなくって、もっとスポーツだったり、芸術だったり、それ以外の軸、自分のことを評価してもらえる、それぞれ個人の良さを見てもらえる評価っていうのが行われるようになったら、さらにその人の良さっていうのが生かされてくる素敵な受験になると思います。
Thank you for that. Risa, what do you think? You also think the current system is unfair, is that right?
Oh, am I? Oh,
yes.
Thank you for giving this opportunity. Actually, my dad is alcoholic, and also my mom is ADD. So from elementary school, I did a lot of house chores. So I couldn't spend a great child memory. But in Japan, it's only measuring the test. So I think it's not fair.
What do you think would be what do you think would be a better system?
Actually, my thinking is the same as Leo. So many have a opportunity like a sports or art or kind of that.
Do you think those other forms of evaluation should count, not only grade?
Yes.
And why would that make the system more fair, do you think?
I'm sorry, I'm still thinking.
You can still think.
Yeah.
All right, you can keep thinking and come back to us.
Okay, thank you.
Mahiro.
Thank you. I don't think it is fair because some people say the current system is very fair because we can pass the exam with our making effort, studying hard. Right. However, some people can't make effort because of their home environment. Rich child can go to cram school and they can know strategy to pass the paper test, and
yes.
they can enter the university with their making effort and with their parents' money.
Tell me, what do you think would be a system of university entrance that would be more fair to students from poor families as well as rich families? What do you think would be a better system?
Some poor students can't know about university.
Yes.
They can't find opportunity to study or opportunity to making their future. So
Yes.
So it is so difficult because we have to change the system of whole society. We can't
Right.
change just an
Aha.
exam.
So you think that to make education truly accessible to everyone, it's not enough simply to change the university entrance exam or the system of admissions. It's necessary to change the entire society. Thank you for that, Mahiro.
Thank you very much.
Manuel, what do you think?
There is a lot of things that have already said, but I think something that's really important is to valorize the curriculum besides the school's life. And also, I think in my country, there is a lot of a strong lack of scholarships also. And in specific in the exams, I believe that there is a lack of soft skills evaluation. So in the exams, I cannot valorize. They don't valorize the cooperation, the creativity, and I think that's really important.
And you call cooperation and creativity, Manuel, you call them soft skills. Is that right?
Yes.
And soft skills, what are hard skills? Give me an example of the hard skills that are currently tested.
Oh, that's a difficult question. I believe the hard skills maybe are more related to the logical thinking and the ability to write things and to write your thoughts and your learnings. And
Right.
the other side of the learning, it's not valorized, and I think that's a step to be taken.
Very good. And where do you go to school, Manuel? Where do you live?
I'm from Portugal.
From Portugal. And are you in university?
No, I'm a high school student, and I'm studying a professional course of theater.
In theater.
Yes.
So is theater about soft skills?
I think so, and I think yes, but for example, if I want to go to the university with the course of theater, it's sometimes it's more valorized that I know really good the exams of Portuguese and not so my abilities to represent, and that doesn't make sense to me.
Okay, well, thank you for that, Manuel. Now we've heard a number of students who have raised very powerful, compelling arguments that the current system is unfair. But a number of people, when we took the poll, voted that the system of admission is fair. So I would like to hear now a reply from someone who has heard these objections to the current system and who would like to offer a reply. Who would be willing to do so? Yuta, you voted that the current system, Yuta Watanabe, would you like to tell us why you think the current system of university entrance exams is fair despite the objections that you've heard?
I'm sorry, I think I voted for unfair, but
you voted for unfair.
Yeah, but yeah, it's okay, and I understand. Yes, and then my point is, even if you want to evaluate the skill, like so-called soft skills, and then they are usually the students who are rich people can usually do better on those skills as well, because they have a lot of social capitals at home or around them. So yes. I don't think that will make big differences. And in thinking of the current system, I don't think it's very fair, but the current system is doing well, I think. So I just want to think how we can make it better. I mean, if it's not good, like not worse, how we can change it. That's I'm interested in now.
Okay, well, we'll turn to that in a moment. Thank you for that, Yuta. Now let me hear from someone who would like to defend the existing system, someone who voted that the current system in your country is more or less fair. Who would like to volunteer to tell us why? Lower your hand if you were voting to tell us how it's unfair, and raise your hand if you would like to defend the current system. Yuto.
私は、現行の受験制度が不公平だとは、思いません。それは、まず、家庭環境とかっていった場合に、何か受験に対して、資格などが必要なわけではないので、奨学金を得たりとか、努力をすれば、入る方法はあると思います。また、どんな受験制度を、実施したとしても、例えばスポーツの、入試であったり、芸術の入試であったりして、そのいろんな方法があったとしても、絶対にその、受験に対して、整合性がある有利な人もいれば、有利でない人が出てくるのは、どんな受験をしても、絶対に起こることだと思います。で、例えば自分が行きたい大学の受験制度が、こう、コロッと変わってしまったりして、対応できなかったりするのは、すごい困ると思うので、誰もが、努力をすればできるという、入れるという受験を、満たすには、今の制度は、すごく十分で、選抜する意味が、持たれていると思います。
Okay, thank you for that, Yuto. Sua, what do you think?
Well, I think the current method of college entrance examination is fair and perfect. But however, I think we are not utilizing this properly. University use grades as a standard for evaluating students' diligence. And the university also evaluates how many hours did the student have volunteered to evaluate their personality. But however, we forget our original purpose of evaluating, and we're just trying to improve our grades and just increase our volunteering hours. So therefore, cheating occurs in the examination and the volunteer work. There are some cases that parents do volunteer instead of their children, and that gets, so yeah, there is a problem with that. So, and we hate students who gets better score than us, and we just compare each other and we hate each other. And so there is no problem with the university evaluation method. I mean, in fact, even if a better method of better way emerges, this problem will never be solved if our mind's essence and our thoughts do not change. Yeah, that is my thought.
And so where do you study?
I study at Korea high school.
So you're still in high school?
Yeah, and this year I will have the college entrance examination.
Yes. And so so you think the attitudes of the students who compete and of the parents who help their students compete are what need to change, not the entrance examinations as such.
Yeah, I mean, that is the fundamental problem of this whole thing.
Okay. And when you say that students come to hate each other, you mean they feel intensely competitive with one another?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Thank you for that. Let's turn then to Anton. What do you think?
Oh, thank you very much. I like to point out that I'm defending not the same system my colleagues are talking about, because I live in Moscow, Russia, and of course, I will be talking about Russian university admission system. I think it's quite fair for a couple of reasons. First reason, there are a huge variety of the universities according to the level of passing bars. And you know how big Russia is, and it's quite good that anywhere you live, you can find an university and higher education institution near you. You don't have to go to Moscow or St. Petersburg to have qualified, to have a good education. So there's no any inequity in it, as I know. I studied as a student in Tomsk State Universities in Siberia, right in the middle of Russia. And then I passed to a master program in Moscow, so it's not a problem. Second, to get to the university, everybody passes a same exam. And it is quite transparent. You always know which exam, which kind of exam do you pass, which tasks there will be in that exam. And it's an open information. It is updated every year. And if you have access to the internet, and most of the Russian population has access to the internet, you have an opportunity to read these materials to be prepared for the exams. So there are no inequity in information about exams, about the rules of admission.
And let me ask you this, Anton, responding to a point we heard earlier. In Russia, does the exam test what some have called soft skills, creativity, the ability to cooperate, do sports and the arts count, or only the more academic subjects such as science and math and logic? Do the exams in Russia test what some have described as these soft skills to do with creativity?
That's a good question. I try to answer short because it's a complicated question.
Give us a short answer because I want to turn to others. In general, would you say that they do?
10% of my result is non-academic achievements. 10%.
Non-academic, I see.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay, very good. Thank you for that. And now I would like to make an observation about the arguments that people have made for and against the system of university entrance exams in their countries. We've heard from people, students from Japan, also from Portugal and Korea and Russia. And the debate has revolved, as I understand it, around two different objections to the system of university entrance exams as they currently exist. One set of objections has to do with equity, with fairness, with the ability of students from poor families to compete with students from wealthier families. And the second objection that people have voiced, apart from the question of equity, is the question of whether the university entrance exams test the right kind of skills, the proper range of skills. Do they test for the right qualities? And this was the argument about so-called soft skills. Do the exams test for creativity, for cooperation? Should the range of abilities being tested for include sports and arts and volunteer work in addition to so-called hard academic subjects? Now, the debate about fairness and equity is clear. And in most societies, whatever subjects are tested for, hard skills or soft, there are significant disparities in outcome on university entrance exams based on family income. Not always, but as a general pattern, in most countries, the students from more affluent families tend on the whole to score higher than students from poor backgrounds. So this is one objection that we've heard expressed very clearly here today. I would like to ask one more question about what should be tested. What should be the basis for university admissions? And if you would go to once more to the green button and to the red button, I would like to ask you to respond to the following question. Do you think that university entrance exams should test for so-called soft skills, for creativity, for critical thinking, for cooperation, and even for qualities such as the ability to excel in the arts, for example, as well as more traditional academic subjects? Click yes if you think that university entrance should include creativity, cooperation, volunteering, participation in the arts. Click no if you don't think so. If there should be instead an emphasis on traditional academic subjects. And let's see what people think about what should be tested for admission to university. Yes, if soft skills, cooperation, volunteering, critical thinking. No, if you think the focus should instead be on traditional, so-called hard academic subjects. The majority want more emphasis on a broader range of qualities. Only a small number here have voted in favor of retaining emphasis on traditional academic skills. I'd like to hear from someone in the minority. Raise your hand if you think there should be an emphasis on traditional academic subjects rather than on soft skills, creativity, artistic ability, and so on. New Xuan.
Thank you so much. We can learn traditional subject in school, but the critical thinking, arts, sports, music, dance, the poor people, the poor family, they can't learn it in school. They should go somewhere else, not school. So
I see.
Yeah. So
all right, that's very interesting, because and where do you go to university?
Sorry, I'm from China.
Yes.
Now I'm a part-time lecturer in Tokyo Gakuya University. I studied in Japan. Now I become a teacher in Japan.
You're a teacher now.
Yeah.
Yes.
University teacher.
Right. Okay. Well, that's a very interesting observation, because New Xuan argues that now let's think back to the votes we had and to the arguments we've heard. Most people here worry about equity in access, the fact that it's harder for poor students to compete on university entrance exams, to compete with students from affluent backgrounds. And most people here also voted in favor of placing greater emphasis on soft skills, on creativity, on the arts, on dance, on music. But New Xuan points out that there is a tension between these two positions, because the more emphasis is placed on creativity and sports and music and artistic training, the greater advantage students from affluent families will enjoy. So to place greater emphasis on soft skills, creativity, and the arts will actually give a greater advantage to students from affluent backgrounds. So the two, if Newjean is right. Then the two considerations that most people here have emphasized, more equity in access and greater emphasis on creativity, art, music, volunteer work, that they point in opposite directions. That if we emphasize soft skills rather than grades, it will give a greater advantage to students from well-off backgrounds. So that's quite a challenging argument. I want to see if there is someone who can see a solution, someone who believes it's possible to reconcile greater equity with greater emphasis on creativity, critical thinking, the arts, music, sports, and so on. Who has a reply to Newjean's argument? Ines, what do you think? Do you have a reply?
I'm not actually sure if it would be a direct response to this problem, rather an alternative, which is I do think that these exams should place more emphasis on these so-called soft skills, but especially on aspects such as the motivation of the student, why they want to study, what they want to do with the knowledge that they acquire. And so I think it's less about placing emphasis on areas such as the arts or sports, and more about, for example, student interviews side by side with the academic exams. So we can actually evaluate what this student wants to do, why they want to get a higher education. Because oftentimes students from poor families are the ones who have the most ambition, the most drive to actually improve their quality of life. And so I think we should take that more into account rather than focusing on—
Ines, what motivations do you think we should look for and emphasize?
I think we should look for, well, first of all, ambition, because I do not think that a student who wants to go to university simply to please their parents, for example, which is often the case we see with children from richer families, I do not think that is a good justification, I would say. I think we should look for ambition, the drive to improve something for someone, to make some good out of the knowledge that they will acquire.
And if we looked for more for ambition and for passion, for that kind of motivation, do you think that would lead to more students from poor families being admitted?
I do, because I think that oftentimes students from poor families, they want to improve their quality of life. They want to make their living conditions better for themselves and for their families. They just don't often get the correct opportunities and resources to make that happen.
Okay, and where do you study, Ines?
I study in Portugal as well.
In Portugal. All right, thank you for that. Ayumi, what do you think?
Possible solution is to give the students choice, like to choose between whether they want to take high-stake exam or whether they want to be be assessed based on their skills or those specialties they have. And I feel like, well, I'm originally from Japan, but now I'm studying under international baccalaureate program. And I expected IB program to be much more fair than Japanese program. But right now, I'm not really sure if there is any possible way to make those perfectly fair education. So that's why I believe one is a possible way to give the students the right to choose in what ways they want to be assessed and based on what.
So a student could say, please assess me based on my grades or on my ability in math and science or on my ability in art and sports. Is that what you're suggesting?
Yeah, well, I feel like those kind of skills can also be their specialty in studying, those paper test. I feel like that's part of skills.
Right.
Even if traditional way of being assessed.
Thank you for that. Tokuta.
私は、入試形態を変えれるかわからないんですけども、小学校とか中学校とか義務教育の段階で その芸術とかスポーツとか、そういうところを体験する活動をもうちょっと増やした方がいいかなと思っております。私は大学で音楽を専攻しておりまして、で、もちろん入試で使わないので、こうやる気がつながらないっていう部分はあるとは思うんですけども、そういうアートとかデザインの思考っていうのは、そういう何かにこう前向きに向かったり、こう夢を持ったり、そういう次につながるモチベーションにつながると思っています。なので、入試形態が変えられなかったとしても、そういう体験、自分の手を使って何かを作ったり、音楽を聴いたり、そういう活動から何かこう次へのモチベーションにつなげることができるんじゃないかなと私は思っています。はい。
Very good. Well, we've heard a range of arguments about how we should test students for gaining access to universities. It seems to force us to question and to think about what we should be teaching and emphasizing to young people before they get to university, before they take university entrance exams. Because the way we design the system for admission to university has a significant effect, as Tokuta and others have pointed out, on how the curriculum is designed for compulsory education, for secondary school. So the stakes are very high. And we heard earlier in the discussion the suggestion that in order to make whatever system of university entrance we adopt truly fair and equitable, we may have to make fundamental changes in society that go beyond the educational system itself. We've heard voices from Japan, from Korea, from China, from Portugal, from Russia, reflecting on the system of university entrance exams. We've heard two objections to the current system. One having to do with equity, with fairness. The other having to do with what qualities we are currently measuring. What qualities should we be measuring? Should we be evaluating students for the ability to excel in grades, in mastering traditional subjects, in memorizing subject matter? Or should we be evaluating students on a broader range of abilities, including critical thinking, creativity, artistic imagination, the ability to perform well in sports, in the arts, in volunteer work, having a devotion to making the society a better place? And we've heard the suggestion that even though many people are attracted to both goals, greater fairness and a broader range of qualities being tested, we've heard the suggestion that there may be a tension between these two principles, these two commitments. And then we began to examine whether these two principles of reform of high stakes testing can be pursued together, or whether pursuing one may make it more difficult to pursue the others. What this debate shows, I think, are two things. First, reflecting on university entrance exams is not a technical subject. It raises some fundamental questions about the purpose of higher education, about the qualities that the educational system should reward and cultivate in students. And answering this question takes us to some of the most fundamental questions about what makes for a good society and how a good society and a just society cultivates in young people the qualities that will enable them to flourish and that will enable the society itself to be fair. And we've also heard a spirit of inquiry that reaches across countries as young people everywhere, certainly the young people gathered here today, reflect and deliberate and debate and reason together with civility and mutual respect about some of the most fundamental questions facing our educational system and facing our societies. And so for that, I want to thank you all very much for a fascinating discussion. We've not solved the question of how to reform university admissions standards, but we have begun a conversation about what the purpose of education should be. Thank you all very much.